bill that creates the Osun village. And what it is specifically, it's really a movement to reconnect us back to our origins, specifically in Yoruba land. I have very close allies with the Oni of Ife as well as Alaafin or Yo. I received titles both in Nigeria as well as in Ghana. So really what this is about is really creating a movement so that for those of us who are not necessarily ready to immediately go back, we at least begin to form the dialogue. So I began to bring Babalaos, artisans, to our local community so that they could, in fact, this is a call from Singapore, so that they can, in fact, begin to cross borders culturally. And that's basically it. So it's really a bridge, a cultural bridge, so that we can go back to our deepest roots. One of the things that's been discussed is trying to come up with a collective format in terms of, we know that the Yoruba traditions have been very creolized, and it's a really beautiful thing, but there needs to be some type of guideline so that things are being done in a consistent manner. So it's really about the different walks or expressions of the tradition, because it's not necessarily called a religion in its origin. It's really a culture or tradition. So there's not this thing to need to distinguish itself from, say, the Muslims, because you have people who they go to Catholic church, like the brother was saying, they go to the mosque, but they're still Yoruba. Their names are Yoruba, so there's no conflict in terms of identity. You realize it's much more than a religion. It's a culture, it's your medicine, it's your language, it's your dress, it's your food. And so this is the type of authenticity we want to bring back to those of us who've expressed it in the diaspora. And that's the long and short story of what we're about. And Queen Mother Rite, I actually had the privilege of hosting the late king, who was the first African-American initiated to the Likumi Santeria. He was initiated at Matanzas, Cuba. And he came back and established the Oyotunji African Village in South Carolina. And he's now late, and this is his wife, who's one of our Queen Mothers here in Miami. I had the honor of taking him, I think it was on his last trip to Africa. Myself, like him, we were both first titled by the Akan in Ghana. So it's really interesting. Her husband and I share a similar walk. Whereas they're in a remote village in South Carolina, my concept was we're expressing this anyway. So let us publicly name a thoroughfare. You know what I'm saying? An honor. So people often look for a building. It's not a building. It's the street. It's 43 blocks that have been dedicated. So it's really an expression. So it's like we have a footprint now for us to do things that possibly express who we are. Be it a Santeria Lekumi Botanica, be it a Ministry of Culture and Tourism that's the vision. So we've had a lot of our Latin politicians were like, winking, and they couldn't believe it. We didn't necessarily talk, but they would wink, so I understood that they understood. But we've had a lot of resistance as well. I was even a key witness in a case with one of the commissioners, Michelle Spence-Jones, who, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle subpoenaed us, and they didn't press charges after bringing us into this whole thing, but a lot of monies that were allocated. So we've done this with our own resources. So when I heard Mother Carmen Pla speak, I can definitely identify. And it's time, I think, for us to come together as a community, and we're here, and we're not going. And that was one of the reasons I thought to have state signboards, No one can deny the presence of Yoruba custom and tradition in South Florida. Thank you.